Hello gamers, Pet here. Welcome to a review and tutorial for a Unity asset called Timers and Clocks. But before we begin, don't forget to check out the link in the description, which is gamerpet.com/, something something, because I tend to ramble a lot when I make these videos because I like to talk and show other stuff. But for people who just want to see the minimum information, I'm trying to write an article to my website whenever I'm making a video. So the article itself has screenshots, has text, shows you what you can do, and so on, in case you just want to see some information real fast. So anyway, let's have a look at timers and clocks. Seems kind of basic, right? And it is a little bit basic, but I do want to tell that the asset is actually really useful, especially for someone like me. Like, I had to do a timer for a small game, and the timer is supposed to show and to show the timer to go from 5 minutes to 0, and whenever I reach 0, I'm supposed to do something like a game over screen and something like that, right? And I was like, hey, that's not really like a big deal. I was using Flow Canvas to show and I was thinking, I was making the whole thing with Flow Canvas. I was like, I would just use the wait node thingy, and I can just, whenever the timer runs out, I will just do the thing, and it's not really that great, right? It's not really that hard, right? And I started to do it, and I was like, my timer is in seconds. I kind of need to convert it to minutes and display it minutes and then seconds, and then I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that because I find it boring. As some of you know, I'm not like a full programmer. I'm kind of like in between, and there are some stuff that I find terrible boring, and there are a lot of stuff that like I like to do them and the logic parts and so on. So I was like, I don't want to reinvent the wheel, right? Let's see if there is a Unity asset, and there is. Timers and clocks made by this guy. I believe his name is Steven or something like that. His company or whatever it's called Turn the Game On, and he actually has a couple of other Unity assets that I hope that I will cover in the future maybe. Anyway, let's talk about timers and clocks. This is the manual. It's you can also see it on my website because there is no manual link on the Unity assets. But again, keep in mind this is version 1.1. It might be improved in the future, so this manual will become slightly obsolete. But again, it shows you exactly what you can do with the timer, and it shows you exactly how you can do some stuff, which is what I will also try to do real fast in the video form. So what you get in the folder is basically 3 demo scenes. This is the clock demo, and if we play this one, we will see that we have a lot of clocks like this, a lot of analog clocks and a digital clock. We also have this UGUI clock demo, which actually uses the Unity UI, which is also great. And we also have this timer demo, which if we play is just showing you this. But for the demo purposes, I will also do this myself, so I can show you real fast how you can do it yourself. We also have this documentation, the meshes for the prefabs, because we actually have 2 prefabs. One is the analog clock that, if we watch, is basically this one. So that's great. As you can see, let's actually look real fast at the analog clock. You have these pivots for the hand, the minutes, and the seconds and the hours. I forgot the way I said. So basically, again, if you go to the camera and we click play, the timer should work. Or I haven't set it up to basically, yeah, we don't have the timer here. So anyway, you have to set up the timer. We also have the UGUI, and of course it's kind of like the same settings and kind of the same idea. But as I've said, you have those out of the box. You don't have to do them by hand, but I forgot, like the phone ringed and it kind of buzzed my whole thing. But basically what's most important is this timer script. So let's actually use it. We right click, create an empty object, press F2 to rename. let's call it timer, and then you know, reset its position, so we make sure it's at 0, 0, 0. And we also have this timer, which is exactly the same timer. So let's see what we can do. We have a state called you know, disabled and counting, which of course it's you can actually disable it, and so the timer won't run out, or you know, when it's counting, it's starting to go to this state called counting, of course. And you have the timer type is count up, where it's going to count up to a point, count down, where it's going to start at one point and count to 0. And we also have count up to infinite, which is, you know, just, it's a little bit less boring, it's a little bit more boring, but we are going to focus on the countdown. Basically, you can set up the start time, let's call it 600 seconds, the timer speed. You also have a way to showcase, to change the look of the timer itself, and I will show you a little bit later that. We also have this set 0 time scale. So when the time is up, basically that's the thing, when the time, the count up and the count down has those extra settings. So when the time is up, you can actually set the time scale to 0, meaning that your game will be paused, or you can actually call out you can call up a lot of events that you can set up for yourself, functions and so on. I was able to call out Playmaker event. I was also able to call out Flow Canvas event, so you can also do that. This is basically the classic Unity event thingy. You can also set up this array where you can destroy objects when the timer reaches 0, and that's also great. And you can also do this load scene on, you know, when the time is up, I will be able to name a scene, let's say game over scene, whatever, and that scene will be loaded. And also you can load up a scene at a particular time. And this is something that I would like to be a little bit improved, because, you know, since Unity, I believe 5.3, we have this async loading of the scenes. I would like to be able to load multiple scenes, and I would like to be able to load them async, right? Multiple, you know, async in the background, but also more scenes at the same time to be loaded, and have them loaded up, basically. I would love to have that on. So let's actually look at the timer text, which is the last thing. We are going to create a new I text, and if we look at in 2D and we move to the text, it's there, it's looking ugly. Let's center it a little bit. Let's make the text white. That's good, I guess. It doesn't matter that much. But if we look at the game window, we can't see it. Why can't we see it? Is it off screen? Yes, it's off screen. it's off screen, but it's also, let's not make it white. Let's make it black, and let's also make it a little bit larger, but not too large, because let's make the width of this whole a little bit larger. Okay, so if we go back to our timer and we specify a text, now that text is going to be updated by the timer itself. So let's save the scene, let's click play, and what oh, it's disabled. Okay, counting. Okay, so now it works. It was disabled, basically. Which is great, because as I said in the written article, you can set up multiple timers and only trigger particular timers that you want, and actually make them do something when the timer is up, right? You can also manipulate the start time and the other stuff, right? So what else you can do with the look? You can hide the milliseconds. As you can see, you can hide the hours in case there is like a shorter time, and you can hide the zeros, so you just have it like this. So I think this is pretty useful. I guess for a full programmer who enjoys doing stuff like this would be like, easy peasy to do, and he would like to spend, I don't know how many hours to do this himself. I'm not that type of guy, so for me this is the classic example of a Unity asset that I can get on the asset store and use. So for me that's something like really useful. So thanks to the asset developer, to Steven, I believe that's his name, for creating this. So anyway, if you have any questions, write in the comments below. As I've said, the asset itself is pretty straightforward, but it's actually really useful and easy to use. So again, click the link in the description if you want to check the asset up, and write in the comments if you have any suggestions about my tutorials, videos, and so on. So thank you guys for watching this. See you